Hello my astrology friends, and welcome to your September 2025 astrological forecast for the 12 signs of the zodiac from Aries to Pisces. I'll be looking at how your month is going to pan out, and particularly because we're in eclipse season, so there's a lot to look forward to. So without further ado, let's get started. Before we do that, just to let you know, please like the video and become a subscriber. It all helps to spread the word of astrology. So in this next segment, I'm going to be jumping in to Aries. This is for Aries sun sign and Aries rising. Okay, so Aries, listen, you guys, Saturn and Neptune transiting in your own zodiac sign. Neptune is retrograde in your own sign, but more importantly, the planet Saturn has retrograded back into the previous sign of Pisces, and that means that you're slightly free from the restrictions and limitations and sometimes the self-doubt of that Saturn being in your own sign. It will return, but for a couple of months you've got a bit of a break. But your ruler Mars is in the astrological sign of Libra, which is your 7th house, which is the house of partnerships, relationships. And really, Mars, does that do relationships and partnerships really well? Is it diplomatic in Libra? Not really. A lot of people are going to be projecting a lot of energy onto you, their own fears, their own anger. And it's how you respond to that. Now, Aries is a zodiac sign that likes to, be quite direct and get to whatever's the issue. And suddenly it cannot do. It has to listen to the other person. So this would be in romantic relationships. This would be in business partnerships. This would just be generally with what we'd say is other people. You've got to be careful about how you respond and react to other people who might feel that they have been angered by you or angered by another person. They project it right onto you. And if we think about that fact that the planet Neptune, which is transiting through your own zodiac sign, and that being adding a distinct bit of really sensitivity to your nature and a wanting to be quite spiritual or look at spiritual practices at the moment, then you can see that sensitivity might come across as quite strong at the moment. And when you're dealing with Mars, it's to not be aggressive, but to be assertive. Very, very powerful. Jupiter is traveling through your 4th house as it has been since June. That's kind of bringing out qualities to do with movement, particularly within the home environment, improvements, particularly. You've got on the 6th, Uranus going retrograde in Gemini. That's your 3rd house. So communications might be a bit more unexpected, or things come to the surface that you have to respond to in a kind of unique way here. And we've got a lunar eclipse on the 7th. Now that hits your 12th house, which is the house of the subconscious, needing to retreat from the world as well. So during that particular time of the 5th, 6th and 7th, you might want to step back from yourself and take time out to do a little bit of inner work. Then on the 21st, you've got a partial solar eclipse that's going to be hitting your 6th house, which is to do with your working environment and health matters in general. So it might be you start a new health regime, or that there is a new start within working environments, or someone else joins your working team, something like that. But I think that the Mars thing is the big thing for Aries. They've just got to be really kind of watch out for that. Okay, let's move on to Taurus. This is for Taurus sun sign, Taurus rising. Okay, let's look at your ruling. It's Venus. Now, Venus is transiting your 6th house, and that's the house of where you work and service to others and health matters. it's a bit uncomfortable in the 6th house, but it is in Leo, and therefore we have to kind of look at that energy and kind of see where that's kind of going. I sort of feel for a lot of Taurians, they're just sort of feeling that Uranus is coming back into their own zodiac sign, and it will be. That happens in November. But it's this kind of feeling of, oh God, Uranus is coming back in. And I think that you've got to be a little bit careful to not catastrophize in your mind. Oh God, Uranus is coming back. Uranus is coming back into your own sign to tie up the loose ends, really. It's not going to be as dramatic as it has been over the last 7 years, but it's just to tie up the loose ends so you know where you stand, that you can begin to move forward. And that's going to be really, really important for you, for Taurians. I think for a lot of you, there's a kind of a real sense at the moment of starting to get a little bit more stable, and you know where you are and you know who you are again, and you kind of are starting to put plans into place to go, okay, this is how I'm going to plan for the next few years and stuff like that without the Uranus energy. Bearing in mind, though, that you've got Pluto, and that's in your 10th house. So for a lot of you, what's sort of taking place is this kind of change and transformation within the work environment. And these are seeds of ideas, unless you're very early degrees Taurus Sun or Taurus Rising. Then it's a bit chaotic. But for a majority of you, you know, there's things happening. There's quite a lot of power coming towards you and responsibility, but also the ability to transform and move forward. And I think that's, you can start to feel this in September. You've got the eclipses, one on the 6th, one on the 7th, which is in Pisces, and that's hitting friendships and stuff like that, so it might be a lot to do with friendships around that time. And then on the 21st, you've got it in Virgo, and that's kind of interesting because, again, it's kind of hitting your working environment and where you're working and how you look after yourself. So there may be some new beginnings around that. That takes place. It's at critical degrees at 29 degrees, this partial solar eclipse. So just look out for that kind of energy. I think for a lot of you, though, it's that great plodding quality that Taurus has, and just to get through it. But try not to catastrophize about Uranus coming back into your sign. It's not going to be as dramatic as it has been in the past. Okay, Gemini Sun, Gemini Rising. Around about the 6th, Uranus starts going retrograde in your own sign. First time it's done that. It will go in November back into Taurus. Bit of a crazy energy since July that it's been for a lot of Geminis, and very sort of busy. And I've had a lot of Gemini clients recently, and they're getting used to the Gemini, getting used to the Uranus energy, and they're not quite realizing how to handle that. So to me, there's quite a bit going on there. But it means that things slightly slow down a bit when Uranus goes retrograde. It means you can take a step back a little bit and you can start to see, okay, what's been going on? How do I plan this? Or how do I move forward? For you, Jupiter is still going through your 2nd house nicely. So there is expansion within finances, self-value, self-worth, development, the more material aspects of life that you're bringing in nicely. Venus is transiting through your 3rd house, which is bringing up some really good qualities there. There's a lot of, you know, energy. There's a difficult square between Mars and Jupiter in the sky this month, in September. And I think for a majority of you, you're going to find that a little bit challenging, because for the Geminis, more ideas, more, or I could do this, I could do that. And you've really got to stick to 1 or 2 things this month and get things done and get things completed. It is one of those months where at the start of it, you know, I've got so much to do. And if you go off and go, but I want to do this and I want to do that, you're not going to get things completed. And you do need to, particularly to be more specific, on the financial front, and finances need to be sorted out. Okay. Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising. This is a bit more different. I mean, Cancer's got Jupiter traveling through, but again, they've got to contend with that square aspect with Mars. That's going to be a little bit sort of challenging, and that hits actually the home area, the home, the family, property. and where we gain our security. So there's a lot going on there for Cancerians. It's one of those months where you could achieve a lot, but as long as you put the energy in the right vehicle almost, you know, try not to get too emotional. We've got eclipse season here. 7th, that's at 15 degrees in Pisces. 21st, that's at 29 degrees in Virgo. They're not really kind of hitting you too much, actually, the eclipses, even though you're ruled by the moon, and eclipses always affect Cancerians. I think it's more about that first 2 weeks with that square aspect between Jupiter and Mars just to contend with. That, for me, is a slightly difficult one. But having said that, you know, I think you can get through this. One of the things about the solar eclipse on the 21st is that it's going to be opposing Saturn, and that's slightly tricky because it means that it's like things want to start from a new perspective, but you've got Saturn limiting and trying to put structure on things. I think that's more of a collective society in general and how that kind of pans out, but just to be kind of aware of that. But quite a nice month for Cancerians. Okay, Leo Sun, Leo Rising. Yeah, I always come back to Pluto, don't I? I start with you guys and Pluto. I can't do that for the next 20 years, can I, when Pluto's in your opposite sign, the length of. But, so Pluto is retrograde at the moment. Aquarians and Leos, again, clients, I've been dealing a lot of Leos and Aquarians. It really, when a planet goes into a zodiac sign, it takes a while to settle. It really does. And it's like an energetic shift that's taking place and that you've got to kind of get used to. And I sort of really feel at this particular point that, yeah, there is an energy there that Leos are having to work on the shadow aspect at the moment, having to work with what they really kind of want, and are dealing with stuff internally that they're actually finding quite difficult. Or as I like to say, the metaphorical skeletons in the closet, you know, of what really drives them. And so there's a frustration about Leos that's happening. Now, listen, Leos, I can say all this and talk about Pluto and you'll be going, oh, right, he's going banging on about Pluto again. But listen, you've got next year, you've got Jupiter going through your own zodiac sign, okay? So you've got some really good stuff coming, but you've got to do the inner work to get to the good work when it comes out. And it's a bit like that. You know, September is a kind of a funny month because there's a lot of planets retrograde. But here's some good news for Leos. First 3 weeks, Venus is traveling in your own sign. So Venus likes to be in Leo. It's comfortable in Leo. It can be as pompous as it likes. So you've got that social aspect starting to pick up for you in September and maybe meeting people that you can connect with and stuff like that. So that kind of brings out quite a nice energy for you. Mars is in Libra. So that's in your 3rd house. So just be careful about how you communicate with people. Sometimes it might be a bit too direct. You've got to watch out for that. So those are the kind of good stuff. But it is the inner work that you're doing at the moment behind the scenes and find out what makes you tick as a personality. Okay, next is Sun Virgo or Sun Rising. So let's talk about your ruler, Mercury. Mercury's moving quite fast. Starts off in Leo. Right at the beginning, then on the 3rd moves into your own sign, Virgo. So Mercury is really operating very, very well. And then on about the 18th, it will go into Libra. So it's got 3 signs of zodiac that it's going through. So it's moving well. It's out of its shadow retrograde period, which happened on the 25th of August. So Mercury is weaving well. So this is a busy month for you, Virgonians. You've got the Uranus factor, particularly if you're born in the early degrees of Virgo Sun or Virgo Rising. Uranus is squaring, and at the moment that's kind of been a bit of a crazy kind of train that's going on there. So just be kind of aware of that. But let's talk about the lunar eclipse on the 7th. because that is at 15 degrees in Pisces, and that's opposing you as an individual. Very kind of emotional stuff that's going on, particularly in to do with relationships with people and how you react to them. Couple that with a square aspect of Uranus again for the early degrees. That's quite challenging, at that particular time. Then on the 21st at 29 degrees in Virgo, you've got the partial solar eclipse hitting you here. So, although Mercury's doing you good and it's gonna help you travel in your own sign for a majority of this month, you've got the eclipses to get through. And the eclipses sometimes are not easy. Those eclipses, they happen every kind of 19 years, around about the same degree mark. So look back to that particular period and what happened then. But also it's kind of closing something off and then beginning something new. And the only reason where you can do that, and for a majority of people, is to be open to changes that come along and to sort of let go of the past a lot of the time. And if you can do that, then you can get a lot out of this next September. It's really kind of very, very powerful. There is the eclipses really work on the surrender into something bigger and sacrificing part of yourself. With those two zodiac signs of Virgo and Pisces, that's the meaning of it, and those where the eclipses are. So very, very powerful month for you Virgos. Okay, let's go on to Libra Sun and Libra Rising. Okay, look, Librans, Mars is traveling in your own zodiac sign, at least until the 22nd. And bearing in mind that you've got the autumn equinox on the 22nd this year, when the sun goes into Libra. So, yeah. But you had it basically in August, so you probably got used to it. At the beginning, it starts at 16 degrees of Libra. So it's ones born later in Libra that are mainly going to sort of see this around about the sort of 4th, 5th, 6th of October kind of onwards that are going to be affected. The early degrees, not so much. And you guys have just got to be, hold your tongue in and be assertive but not aggressive. Be direct, but back it up with logic as well. You've got the square aspect happening between Mars and Jupiter, which can magnify, make things bigger than they actually are, lose your temper, lose your rag, everything is magnified. So just be kind of really aware of that, because that's quite challenging for a lot. And this is particularly, I have to say, in the working world for you, because you've got all that Jupiter energy in the 10th house, and then you've got the Mars energy happening in your first house. So, yeah, just be careful of that. Don't shoot your mouth off. Sometimes it's better be silent and allow things to play out. Okay, Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Rising. Your ruler, your traditional ruler, Mars, is in your 12th house for the first 3 weeks. On the 22nd, it will move into your first house. That's where Mars can do its stuff and actually help you to make decisions. So if you're a Scorpio that's been dithering around, trying to, I don't know, and that's unlike a Scorpio, then things should start to sort of play out for you quite nicely. There's a lot of subconscious stuff for Scorpios this month to deal with. A lot of stuff that's come up to surface, that maybe through dreams, premonitions, that are unsettling at times. That's a lot to do with the square aspect with Mars and Jupiter that's taking place. Saturn is back into another water sign of Pisces. That's sort of getting you to put structure on your creativity, on your self-expression. Really kind of important for you at that time. But for Scorpios, it's all about Mars. And when Mars starts moving in the right direction, you can actually get things done. And that's going to be very, very strong for you. Okay, Sun Sagittarius or Rising Sagittarius. Jupiter is doing its dues, traveling fast in Cancer in your 8th house. I call that the therapeutic house, the house of getting to the bottom of what makes you tick and why do you do certain things and patterns of behavior and everything else. Sort of preparing you for when it goes into Leo and it goes into a 9th house next year, when you want to travel and you want to explore and you want to get this knowledge and learn more. But it's squaring Mars, and that is a little bit of a challenge for you guys. You've got to be very aware of friendships in general and what to do and what not to do with friendships. There could be a lot going on around that particular area, or things becoming magnified, or disagreements, but also connecting with new people as well. So it can be a really, really good time for you. So Sagittarians have got a lot kind of going on. Uranus is retrograde from the 6th in your 7th house. So if relationships have been a bit crazy, or new things been coming in, it might just slow down a bit and just give you a better equilibrium for yourself. Okay, Sun in Capricorn or Capricorn rising. Saturn has gone back into Pisces, which is interesting for you guys, because it's gone back into your 3rd house, which is the house of communication, the house of short distance travel, the busy house, you know, the write emails and keeping busy and communicating. So suddenly you might be back into that. You might have to fill out more forms or more contracts, or do more emails, or do more administration. Probably a really good time actually, September, to do that for yourself, to go back to stuff that you need to do. I would say is going to be really good for you. Jupiter is in your opposite sign of Cancer. So that's good for relationships in general. There's a lot going on around Capricorns at the moment for you. The Mars factor, yeah, okay. Look, Mars is in Libra in the 10th house for you guys. You may feel that you need to push yourself or your opinions forward in work. My advice, probably don't do it this month until the last week of the month, because of the Mars. Also because Mars is squaring Jupiter in the sky. So that's in the 7th house to the 10th. You might rub people up the wrong way, or try and communicate with the right heart in the right place, but actually it doesn't come out like that. So just be really aware of that. That, I feel, is something that's going to play out. You've got the solar eclipses going on the 21st. You've got lunar eclipse on the 7th. Not really heavily affecting you, but certainly in terms of communication skills and travel. If you've got any travel plans, make sure you've got backup plans. Okay. All right. Aquarius sun, Aquarius rising. Okay. The big news is Uranus, your modern ruler, and your traditional ruler both go retrograde. Uranus for the 6th, already Saturn is at the start of the month going retrograde. So it's a funny month for Aquarians, where you know, it's a bit slower than usual, and that can be a little bit confusing, because you've built up all this momentum. You go, right, okay, let's go, and then it's like September comes along, it just slows down. Finances for Aquarians. Eclipses. Lunar eclipse on the 7th in your 2nd house, and the partial solar eclipse in your 8th house. These are the financial houses. Financial things need to be dealt with. You will be dealing with finances a lot. This could be in a good way. It could be in a way that maybe not so good, depending on what you've done with your finances. But most of your energy is going to go into your finances, how you earn your money. Maybe lots of paying out stuff, and all of that you'll be looking at a lot and concentrate. Most of your energy will be like planning, right? I've got to earn this amount of money. I've got to do this. I've got to pay out this. This is going to be the month for Aquarians. So in other aspects, everything slows down, but that's probably good, because it don't slow down with financial. And if you've got a plan, great, stick with that plan. Stick with it. But like there's definitely a sense of a new beginning by the 21st, 22nd of how to deal with your finances, whether it's a work aspect that you're putting into place that will carry you through for next year. Okay, Pisces sun and Pisces rising. Right, Pisceans, it's all about the 7th for you. It's all about the 21st as well. The 7th, of course, the lunar eclipse is at 15 degrees, right smack in the middle of your own sign. Yeah, there is it's an emotional time, but it's about self-development. It's about actually you having a bit more control over your immediate environment, and one door closes, another one opens scenario. So there's a lot going on around that. On the 21st, you've got the partial solar eclipse in opposite sign. That's to do with relationships in general, and this is new starts of sort of, you know, a fresh new chapter or a beginning internally. There's a lot going on. It's quite an emotional month for you guys. Also, your traditional ruler Jupiter is squaring Mars, so it's a little bit volatile at times. You've got to be careful to keep yourself in check and try not to get too carried away with some of the stuff that you would kind of naturally want to do or say. This is not the time to be direct with others, because all it will do is magnify everything and everything gets a bit crazy, and then you haven't got energy to concentrate on other things for yourself. So just be kind of very, very aware of that. Great for spiritual developments, great for a kind of sense of, as I say, you know, new beginnings, at that real kind of sense for you. And other people helping you a lot. That Mercury in your 7th house in Virgo for the majority of the month is really going to help you. So an interesting one for the Pisces for this month. Well, there you go. That is your September forecast. Keep watching, more videos to come. And do like the video and also subscribe. As I say, it all helps me, all helps astrology. Why not do that? And I'll speak to you all very soon. Thanks for watching.